Welcome to Thunder Live on FanDuel Sports Network, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. The Thunder kicking off their final road trip of the regular season, and they do so against the Los Angeles Lakers, putting on an absolute show here in Hollywood. 123-87 victory here inside of Crypto.com Arena. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leading the way with his scoring, but Isaiah Joe keeping everything red hot with 6 made threes. The Thunder put up 123 points. Everybody getting involved. They have now won 6 consecutive games and pick up the series sweep over the Lakers. As we welcome you back inside of Crypto.com Arena and into Thunder Live, I'm Paris Lawson, and coming into this game, the Thunder knew it was going to look a little bit different compared to the last time they played the Lakers. No LeBron James, no Luka Doncic, no Austin Reeves, a lot of heavy hitters for the Lakers out tonight, so they knew that the shots were going to get allocated to different players. They didn't know who that was going to be, so it was going to require a little bit of adaptability throughout the course of this game, and adaptability is exactly what we saw from this group, who weathered a couple of storms and then absolutely put the pedal to the metal to pick up this win here tonight and the series sweep over the LA Lakers. A lot of different guys getting involved in this one, so we're going to bring in the guys who were involved in the broadcast, Chris Fisher and Michael Cage, the voices on tonight's call. And guys, what I want to start with is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and what we've seen from him, particularly in this game, the balance that he showcased, and now have 139 straight games with at least 20 points.
Yeah, Paris, I mean, balance is the key word there, because if you look at everything that he did over the course of this game, Michael, you'd think that maybe it was pedestrian by his standards, but it really wasn't, because he got the passing going early. He had all those assists in the first quarter. Then he picked up the scoring in the second half. But overall, the way that he's been able to manipulate games over the course of this season, it was again shown here tonight.
Well, he's so patient, but yet so good with the basketball. He attracts so much attention, and he's always willing to set up his teammates early in the ball game. And he did that with those 8 assists tonight, but also calling his own numbers at the right time. You know, that shot, the step back 3, and then moving the ball around. You know, a guy like him who, you know, too much is given, much is required. And he just got a great feel and sense for the game. I know we hear this expression a lot of times with players, high IQ, where he can recognize on the fly in a split second whether he should take this shot or kick it over to one of his teammates. And how about this? We talked about that, man. That's something that was fun to see from the reigning MVP.
Yeah, don't forget, he's got a little bit of bounce. He didn't play in the fourth quarter again for the 25th time this season. And, Michael, he gave way to this Thunder bench that has been so reliable all season long. Different guys stepping up. We mentioned Isaiah Joe and the three-point shooting. He was just one of many guys finding ways to make an impact in this game.
Well, this team hasn't been healthy all season, folks, for the last couple of weeks of the season. So just getting everybody back in rhythm, and you've seen that. And now the bench is like, say, hey, you know what? Is this the bench I'll be playing with for the next couple of weeks? And they're getting a feel for each other. Everybody getting involved. And it's the same thing. We're seeing the same story play out from the starters to the bench guy. Ball moving around the horn. Everybody's good spacing, taking shots, knocking down shots, so many ways. And I love the fact that these guys, they just enjoy playing with one another, enjoy setting each other up, and the stats are starting to show it, partner.
3 different guys on the bench scoring in double digits, 66 bench points overall, the 29 assists. Thunder didn't get the free throw a whole lot, but they knocked down 21 threes. That's now 45 threes, if my math is right, over the last 2 games, as they shot 50% overall for the game.
Well, I'm loving those bench points down at the bottom there, partner. The 66 points is just an outstanding number. Thunder been hanging around those 66 points from the bench for the last couple of games. I thought they were outstanding, you know, on Sunday against the Jazz and here again against the Lakers, just really being closers and at the same time playing with some of the starters.
All right, Michael, last back-to-back of the season. We get to stay here in Los Angeles. We just move a little bit west to Intuit Dome to take on the Clippers. We were talking over the broadcast, a little different Clippers team because they traded James Harden. They now got Darius Garland, but they played much better basketball here really in the second half of the season than they did early on.
Well, they're in that 8th place spot, so they're in the play-in. They're thinking about trying to get down to 7, maybe 6. Not enough time to possibly get down to 6. But the Clippers, Thunder have won the first 2 games, and look at those points there. Quite a big difference there. But this is, as you mentioned, this is a different Clipper team tomorrow night. But what I like most of all is that the Thunder have been able to dominate that paint, because this is not a shot-blocking team. This is a perimeter-based team. They have a big-time player in Kawhi Leonard, so expect big things from him, as well as their newest member you mentioned, Darius Garland.
Yeah, the Thunder really been able to force those turnovers too. So, Paris, tomorrow night, we'll see you from Intuit Dome in Inglewood.
I can't wait. And how about this, guys? Final back-to-back of the regular season. I know that's music to Chris and Mike's ears. How's that sound, guys?
No complaints.
I love to hear it. All right, Chris and Mike, thank you so much for your insights. As always, I really appreciate it. And as they mentioned, Thunder got a lot of contributions in this matchup here tonight. So we've got more to break down for you from this game here inside of Crypto.com Arena when we come back on Thunder Live. Because we also got to talk about the sharp shooting of Isaiah Joe, who's been red hot over these last 3 games, knocked down 6 triples in this one against the Lakers. Excellent shooting night here in Los Angeles as the Thunder take down the Lakers 123-87. A key contributor to that shooting, Isaiah Joe, and our very own Nick Gallo caught up with him post-game. Let's listen in.
Isaiah, before the game, Mark Daigneault was saying in a situation like this where they're out some main engines, you kind of have to read and react how they're going to play inside of the game. What helped you all get control of this one early?
Understanding that we can learn and get better no matter who's out there on the floor. It was one of those type of games where, we didn't know what their rotations were going to be or what they were going to do, but we stayed consistent with our game, and we fought 48 minutes. It got us a win.
You really helped drive some of those big runs in the first half with your shot making. How much of that is team execution versus maybe some improvisation that we see from you just playing off your teammates?
I mean, execution, but a lot of it comes in the flow of the game. I think we have a type of game where anybody can get going. We keep the ball moving, and everybody's in a flow on the offensive end. So it's a good blend of both.
This is yet another time here, 3 in a row, where you guys have had a 30-point win. How much of a challenge is it to maintain the focus and concentration level that you need to have? And what kind of sign is it of this team that you're able to keep the foot down throughout a game like this again?
Yeah, it's not always easy, but it's something that we focus on. We understand that once we get a lead, we want to not only maintain it, but we want to increase it. And so the type of basketball that we have to play for 48 minutes, we just got to stay with that. And it just shows the resilience of this team. Nobody's looking at the scoreboard. We're all just playing to get better.
And wrap this one up early on the final back-to-back of the season. Congrats, Isaiah. Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir, Nick. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
Great stuff there from Isaiah Joe and Nick Gallo. Isaiah Joe absolutely red hot from behind the arc right now, and it showed itself in tonight's matchup against the LA Lakers. That is why he is our forward player of the game. Coming off the bench, Isaiah Joe, 18 points, and it's because he knocked down, count them, 6 triples in this one on just 8 attempts. For those counting at home over the last 3 games, Isaiah is 14 of 20 from behind the arc. Don't worry, I did the math for you. That is 70% from the field. He's one of those guys that has the ultimate green light, and he has found a multitude of ways to make sure that he is able to get his shot off. And Chris and Michael talked about it before the game, that sometimes he has to back up a little bit farther to get those shots clean, and yet he's still able to knock them down. Very efficient night for Isaiah. 18 points in just 18 minutes, 6 of 8 from behind the arc, and that ties a season high in 3-point field goals made for Isaiah Joe. And he's just one of many players that contributed in this game for Oklahoma City. And it's a really good example of just how many different guys the Thunder can go to offensively to bring a stellar performance. Isaiah Joe, in this one, he's had a multitude of games like that. And you can really look all around this roster and this team and pick a different guy for a different night. And this team showcasing a lot of that depth here in this matchup against the Lakers, as evidenced by the 66 bench points that the Thunder contributed in this game here tonight. A lot to break down and a lot of great takeaways from Oklahoma City in this matchup against the LA Lakers. Well, we got more coming for you here on Thunder Live post-game, and one of which we got to hear from Thunder head coach Mark Daigneault on his thoughts about tonight's matchup against the Lakers. And also, we'll get you all squared away. Everything you need to know is the Thunder take on the Clippers tomorrow. Up their 3rd consecutive 30-point win in this one against the Lakers, 123-87 here in downtown LA. Let's get you over to the press room so you can hear from Thunder head coach Mark Daigneault post-game.
Mark, we talked before the game about how these can be sort of strange sometimes when you're trying to get a handle or understanding of who's going to maybe be featured or how they might play with so many guys out. What did you make of the way your team got a hold of it and then maintained a hold of it throughout the night?
Yeah, I mean, when there's a team out there that you're not used to seeing, you got to calibrate a little bit, just how they're going to play, how they're going to attack. And that took us a minute, obviously, in the game. They played a lot of zone early that switched to man-to-man, and they were playing through Timmy quite a bit early. And so it took us a minute. I think it was tied at 42 at one point, and then the group that finished the first half did a really good job of stringing together stops and quality possessions on offense, give us a cushion at halftime, and then we continued that in the second half.
Then tonight seemed like another night, not necessarily different than others, but yes, there are sets that are being run, but a lot of also just improvisation and sort of understanding from your team. What kind of balance have you felt from your team as they've been together for a period of time here now for the last few years of being able to, run and execute something versus just go play?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the game is that, miss basket, you're coming down, you're usually just playing, and then sometimes you don't gain an advantage with whatever you're trying to do in your first action, and you've got to be able to try to generate an advantage somewhat randomly. So the guys have done a great job with it. We've worked hard on it for a long time. They've played with one another for a long time, so I agree that was good quality, especially after we got through that first stretch in the first quarter and a half or so.
Mark, I just was listening to what you were saying before the game about not wanting to be rigid with lineups, which is like not new, but like wanting that variability. I guess how soon in advance do you know you want to try like a duo, a trio, a 5-man lineup? How dependent is that on where you are in the season? And like, do you just start the season like with a whiteboard? Like, these are the craziest lineups I want to try? No, obviously not. I mean, there's some consistency to it. We don't want to just be, we thread the needle of the guys, having some consistency and rhythm, and also having to be able to adapt and be fluid. And, they know it's shoot around, generally who they're going to be out there with for at least part of it. But then, things happen in the game that you have to adjust to, or a guy's got it going, like Isaiah Joe had it going tonight, so you extend him a little bit more. So we just want to be a team that, when we make those decisions, the team can kind of dance with us on those things. And these guys have done a great job. We've tried to develop that habit over time. And that's pretty much it. But it's somewhat predictable for the team, going into the game. And then we just kind of pivot off it if necessary.
Obviously, 82 games is a grind, no matter how you slice it. But how would you describe where your team is at emotionally, mentally at this point, and like in this season, coming off a championship defense versus this time last season when you're chasing your first championship? And I guess what unique challenges does the defense of it all present?
This team, to be honest with you, it is a long season, it is a grind, but this is a team that truly enjoys being around one another. So the minute they get together on the bus, it seems that their energy goes up. When they're together in practice or shoot around, their energy goes up, or even in the game, they gain energy by being around each other, and they've kind of always been like that. So that's been a quality that's existed independent of, context. And then we really haven't tried to look at this season as a defense. We've tried to look at it as a new season, that started from scratch. And, last year was great. No one's taken that away from us, but it's also over. And we've tried to look at this season as a new blank canvas that we had to, paint on, or whatever you will. So they've done a great job of that, and we've been able to play pretty consistent basketball throughout the season as a result.
And Mark, even with the different injuries Alex has had this season, how have you seen him try to build off of what he provided last season in terms of two-way presence and intangibles?
Caruso.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the man. He's just, like you saw tonight, he played a very limited role. I didn't put him back out there, because of the spread of the scoreboard. He plays whatever role we need him to, both from a minutes standpoint and also stylistically. He's incredibly versatile on both ends of the floor. He has a great understanding of what we want to get done. He's a real catalyst when it comes to communication on the team, on and off the court. So he's incredible. He's invaluable to us. He's a total winner. and a total team guy that just is constantly present every moment of the day, every moment of the game.
Yeah, the Thunder head coach Mark Dagnall with some great takeaways post-game after this win against the Lakers, namely the ability to calibrate to what the Lakers were throwing at the Thunder throughout the course of this game, particularly in that second quarter. You heard him talk about Drew Timme and how the Lakers were running a lot of their offense through him. The Thunder doing a good job calibrating to that, reacting, responding, and walking away with a win. They're now 6th straight win here in Los Angeles, looking to make it 7 straight tomorrow as they take on the LA Clippers. The last time the Thunder lost in Los Angeles, you got to think back all the way 2 years ago, March 2024. Just a reminder, that game against the Clippers, it tips off at 9 p.m. Central Time. Got to stay up late with us, but tune in 30 minutes early. Thunder Live, me and Nick Gallo will get you started at 8:30 p.m. Central Time as the Thunder rounds out their final back-to-back of the regular season. But what a way to kick off the final road trip here in Crypto.com Arena. Oklahoma City picking up the series sweep over the LA Lakers, and now their 6th consecutive victory. Everybody getting involved, 3rd straight win of at least 30 points, and everybody got a piece of the action. Thunder back in action tomorrow as they take on the Clippers. Until then, thanks so much for staying up late with us. Have a great rest of your night.